All right. It's been a little bit.
Episode 9 of.
It's been a month.
Post-hunt clarity.
Yeah, it's been a while. There wasn't much for us to film this winter.
No, I mean, we didn't even get, I made one ice fishing video, and it wasn't even the state of Wisconsin. It was in North Dakota, the video did really well. It's over 1,000 views or 1,100 views right now, so it's not a lot in, the scheme of YouTube views go. But, my videos, I mean, it's probably one of the top 10 that I've posted, which, they're getting better and better. But we caught a lot of fish and had some fun. But
yeah, I mean, if you're in the Midwest, you probably know it was a weird winter. We didn't have good ice until January for a week.
2 weeks, and then it went bad again.
And then it was bad again and sketchy, and I think I got out 5 times, and 2 of those were just on Rice Lake, which is 2 minutes from where I live.
Full reliable.
And it was a shitty year to fish, that's for sure.
Warmest winter ever recorded between Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota.
Really?
Yep, they posted it on the news last week. Warmest winter ever recorded.
Yeah,
I
it was
have
nuts.
never golfed in the state of Wisconsin this early. Today was the first day I golfed.
Yeah, we opened yesterday.
And March 13th, typically my first outing of the year is if I go on spring break and I go to Florida, and that's around the 20th or something of March. And then I don't get to touch a course until mid-April, probably. At the earliest, mid-April, late April.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is a good thing for people in the golf course business if you get 2 extra months of revenue.
Yeah, it's been good for us. I mean, we opened yesterday, March 11th, and I don't know, next week looks like it's going to get cold again, but I mean, we'll see what happens. It'll be good. Any extra revenue we can bring in this time of the year is just a bonus. So, I mean, if you're in Rice Lake area this time of the year, come check us out. The course is in good shape, came through the winter well, so.
Course was in good shape till I golfed on it.
Yeah, till Gabe shot 90 on the front 9.
No, I golfed a 42. It was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
With a 7. So
yeah, that's not bad.
A legit 42. But a couple of those extra strokes, the fairways, I didn't hit many fairways, but when I did, it was chunk city. It seemed like my club just went right through the freaking...
Well, it's soft this time of year, yeah. If you're a hunter and not a huge fisherman, so you kind of fall in the category of me. I love to fish, but it's not a huge priority to me. I feel like golf is one of the best things you can do. Because there's something to do in the fall, bow hunt, rifle hunt, whatever. There's something to do in the spring, turkey hunt, What do you do in the summer? Play golf.
That's, my schedule to the T. I mix up, so end of April, early May is a weird time for me because I like to walleye fish. 2, I have turkey tags pretty much. This year I don't have one until May because I got shafted by the Wisconsin DNR. And then golf, and then fishing opens up. But I never really go out on fishing over. I feel I'd rather golf or turkey hunt. But from Memorial Day weekend until end of August, I bet. Even because I got a membership last year, I golf 2-3 times a week.
Well, and you've got some scouting to do and stuff like that. But we've talked. We've kind of determined between you and I the best time to scout is right now. Yeah. And normally golf courses aren't open right now. So maybe you're hanging some stands, cutting some shooting lanes, whatever. But golf's a good way to pass the time. That's for sure.
Let's talk about what's popular, what's going on right now. Shed hunting is going bananas right now.
I have never in my life, not one time ever shed hunted.
I haven't. I never find any sheds. No.
I feel like it's just not that enjoyable. I don't know. Like I said, I've never done it. But
do you think it's location? Because I get asked a lot. I was at the Minnesota Deer Classic, and I talked to one of the gals that works at Shields. Her name was Holly, and she had just shed hunted down in Iowa. She worked the show Friday. Saturday she worked at Shields. Sunday she went down and she said she went to Northeast Iowa, which is a 3-hour drive from her. And she found, a fair amount of deadheads and sheds. And I got, the outfitter that I partner with in Buffalo County invited me. They do an annual shed hunt every year. Of course, it was Saturday and I'm working a show, so the second year in a row I couldn't go. They found 240 some sheds in one day.
Jeez.
And that's what I'm saying, they're piles, just big bucks. But whenever I shed hunt north of Highway 29, I feel like I could walk 15 miles down deer trails, along fence lines, through what I would consider bedding area, and I never find sheds.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the experience with it because I've never really done it, but I don't know. It's just in this neck of the woods, I feel like it doesn't have the excitement either. Like, what are you going to find a 2.5-year-old 8-pointer that shedded? You know, I mean, it's not like you're finding 165-inch deer's sheds generally. Yeah. You know.
Well, that's probably why I don't find any, because you're looking for spikes and fork bucks, and those things get lost under the leaves.
Yeah.
But, no, I think that's a huge thing to do with it, because, like, you talk about Iowa, Kansas, western states, southern Wisconsin, like, a lot of guys like to shed hunt more than they like to freaking shoot deer. And for me, it's like, I don't, like, if I go walk through the woods this week, I took Thursday, Friday off, so I got a 4-day weekend. And one of my goals is that, like, I was like, oh, I should shed hunt, but I'm like, no, I think my main goal is I have dead trail cameras in 4 different spots across the north part of the state here that I should go collect or at least check and see if they're still in the tree.
Yeah.
So, like, I got trail camera south of here. I got, 2 trail cameras in the Blue Hills yet. I got a trail camera in southeast Minnesota yet that I haven't.
Yeah.
So it's like I got a big to-do list, but... And then, scout on top of it. Like, it's something I'd kind of fail to do. Now, this, to me, kind of sucks. I was hoping we'd still have... Like, I'm not looking for a foot of snow, but, like, 2 inches of snow so I can at least see, like, the fresh runways and, like...
Yeah.
A better idea stuff. Now, stuff's still not budded or growing up yet, so it's still a good time. You should be able to see the dirt runways in the woods and stuff like that. And, at least maybe... go mark some trees on onyx, like, okay, if this is what it's going to look like next year when the leaves are off, like, this would be a good tree to sit, or this would be, but I still don't know how much time I'm going to devote up here next year. I made peace with I'm going to get my North Dakota mule deer tag.
Dude, if you're going to put in any time up here, not to cut you off, but I can tell you where I'd go. I sent you a video the other day of all those deer, where you and I were in the tree.
Oh, yeah.
The day I shot my buck.
That would be the only place east of here that I would put a trail camera. I'm going to focus all my time on the southern Barron County, Dunn County line, I think. Just because. Yeah. But at the freaking Minnesota deer class, like, I talked to a lot of guys, and they're like, oh, where are you from? We're like, oh, yeah, we're located up in Cumberland. And they're like, oh, yeah, we deer hunt up there. Just south of you. I'm like, what, by Turtle Lake? They're like, yeah, we hunt public over there. I'm like, you fuckers. Like, I get it. Like, it's a good spot, I guess. But it's crazy to me that we got guys coming over here from northern Minnesota, the cities to hunt where I hunt in Wisconsin.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, like, northern Minnesota isn't southern Minnesota, that's Predator Central up there. Minnesota is just like, or Minneapolis is just like, get the fuck out of there, and everybody comes over here because they have cabins and stuff, and...
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah. So you're gonna do North Dakota.
Yep, and I'm gonna do that for mule deer. And I think I'm gonna go early season.
Okay.
For sure drawing Kansas.
Yep.
And when I was at the Iowa Deer Classic, so for some reason, like, I'm not a fanboy for Whitetail Adrenaline, but because the guys are local, like Jared and his dad are from Eau Claire, I like to support their stuff. So when I moved to Missouri, they had just dropped their last video in 2020 from the 2019 hunting season. That video to me was epic as fuck. They haven't come out with a video since, so the video they just released a couple months ago was actually their 2020 hunting season, so it's like delayed 3 years. And there's 7 DVDs, it's 15 hours of hunting. And there's, I think, only like 6 different hunts. Like, the first 2 DVDs are entirely spot and stock whitetails in North Dakota. And, like, there are some freaking pig whitetails where they were at least in 2020. And they don't hunt out tree stands, they're strictly spot and stock. Which is why I want to send you the videos, because I'm like, once you watch that, I have a feeling you're going to call me and be like, dude, next time we go to Kansas, fuck this tree stand. We're going to go on the ground. Like, the deer they see in Kansas, they're hunting, like, western Kansas. Like, I know the area, I'm not going to say the name, but, like, I mean, they're seeing multiple 150s, 60s, 70s, 180-inch deer. Like, they shot a 180-inch deer in North Dakota in velvet, and it was a whitetail.
And that's what's hard for us where we go in Kansas is, not that it's not possible. Actually, the first deer I killed out there was a spot and stalk, but it's a lot of, the property we have now is a lot of, like, winter wheat fields. Where it's
Yeah.
like you have a fucking quarter of an acre tree cluster of trees to hunt, and then it's like 100-acre field. That's like, I mean, winter wheat grows 2 inches out of the ground.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way you could spot and
That's
stalk a deer
that's
in
why I
that.
want you to watch this video, because
Yeah.
that's exactly what they're doing.
Oh,
They
yeah.
got a freaking cardboard. They cut out a cardboard box, put a stake attached to it, wrapped a real deer hide around it, and put like fake antlers on it. And they're like, well, how you reap a turkey, you hold a decoy and go
Yeah.
like that. They're doing the same thing with 170-inch deer, and they're shooting them at
Jeez.
30 yards and in. Like,
Yeah.
But they also do some crazy shit that like they get a lot of flack for. Like they'll bust a deer and it'll be full sprint at like 30 yards, and they're sending arrows like 2 feet in front of
Oh,
it while
really?
it's running. Like they're freaking. They don't give a fuck, dude. They're just.
Yeah.
That's
That's
why
cool,
I'm like,
though.
it'd be cool to watch this. I think you get excited about it, and it's
Yeah.
you know.
So, North Dakota, Kansas. Kansas you'll draw for sure, I would
Yep.
think.
And then I'm still like, if you want to put in South Dakota, I'll do South Dakota, but I can only do one other hunt.
I don't know. I would love to do South Dakota with you, but for reasons that I can't disclose to the public, my hunting plans could be a little up in the air next year.
Yeah.
And I really want to apply for Kansas at least.
Yeah.
Just because that's such a fun trip. But yeah, I don't know. We may have to put off South Dakota for a year or so.
Because if I don't do South Dakota, I have enough points in Wyoming to either draw an elk or mule deer tag. Granted, I missed the elk draw because I didn't plan on going next year. But the mule deer, like, I don't have to put in until end of May.
Oh,
And I'm like, I might just put in to go on a rifle mule deer hunt at the, beginning of October.
yeah.
Because I feel like you could go out there for, I'd plan a 7-day trip or whatever it is. And, depending on, I wouldn't go into high country. I'd stay on probably the eastern side of Wyoming still, on plains and rolling hills and whatever. And, I wouldn't be picky either. I'd shoot the first 140-inch mule deer I saw.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a sweet trip.
Plus,
But-
it'd be one my dad would probably want to go on because he can at least, hang out for a week and
Yeah.
film.
When would we have to apply for South Dakota?
I think South Dakota's the same. It's end of May.
Oh,
So
well, I should be able to make a pretty definitive answer by then.
the only cool thing about South Dakota, and I think we mentioned this on the other podcast, is they have a refund.
Yep.
So if you draw that tag, I think you have up until like August or something to decide whether or not you're going to use it.
So if you refund, you get your point back.
Correct. Yep.
Nice.
So you basically forfeit your tag, you get your points back, and you get a refund for it. Which is, I wish a lot of states did that because like
Yeah.
shit comes up. Like
Yeah.
that's the hard thing because like
It's
I
hard to
have
hunt
Iowa
the-
points right now too. That I like, if I wanted to, like, if I was unsure about Iowa and I wasn't sure about drawing, this tag, I would apply for all of them at the same time, being like, okay, well, I might not get this one, so I'll apply for this so I don't miss out.
Yeah.
But if you draw all your tags, you get lucky as hell. Then you're like, well, fuck, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. You're like, well, I don't think I can hunt Iowa, so I'm not going to put in for it. I'm pretty sure I'll hunt South Dakota, so I'll put in for it. And then you limit yourself to the one option. All of a sudden, you don't draw. Guess what?
Yeah.
You fucked yourself. And
Yeah,
you
it's.
missed
I mean,
out.
it's hard to plan a hunt in like Kansas is April. That you got to apply
Yeah,
by. I think
so-
last
so
year
is
was
North
April
Dakota, that's
29th.
what I'm saying.
It's hard to say. Okay, in November I'm definitive that I can be here. And that kind of sucks. But I don't know. I guess there's certain hunts. My uncle always says he's like, there's certain hunts that it's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like
You
you
just
quit
go
your
on.
job, you sell your car, like you do what you like. He's like
You make it happen.
Alaska's his thing, right? So he's
Yeah.
like, you draw a tag for Kodiak
You go.
for a sheep hunt. He's like, you quit your job, you sell your house if you have to, you go on that hunt.
Yeah.
Now he's being a little bit dramatic when he says that, obviously, but it's like you figure out how to get there.
Yeah,
And
I
you
mean,
do
there's
it,
there are doll sheep tags from, in some of these states and up in wherever these animals exist. Like I was looking at some of the statistics for guys that want to sheep hunt in like Wyoming or Colorado, and some of these guys have like 20 to 25 preference points going into
Yeah.
hunt. Like you start applying when you're 20 years old. I mean, you're 50 before you even
So,
have a chance to draw that
His
tag.
buddy drew a sheep tag in Kodiak last year.
Yeah.
And like he had been applying for this hunt forever, getting preference points, and like supposedly that's like a maybe twice in a lifetime trip. You know, do you need another beer?
No, I'm good.
I'm hammered, just so everybody knows. I'm not quite, but I'm getting there. It's a Tuesday too, by the way.
Who's turning up on it?
And I gotta work at 8 till probably 8
Must be
at
nice
night.
to sleep in.
Yeah, but you don't have to work 12 hours tomorrow.
No, I could, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. I got so many irons in the fire right now, it's not even funny.
Yeah, on top of everything else that's going on. Just launched a new brand at work.
Yeah, Nested, check them out.
Nested tree stand.
Sold out first week.
It's pretty crazy. Like, we had no idea what to expect with that brand. You know, we're obviously our goal when we decided to segment this market, like, okay, you got American-made, fully machined stands that are super expensive on the very top of like the, you know, my boss doesn't like how I use this word, but I'm like, I call them a more Gucci status brand. For all you old guys out here listening to this, I would just consider that like your top tier premium brand, and then you have cheap shit. We wanted to be the premier of the middle of the road, which is like affordable, but still like, I'm not saying it's bad quality, anything like that. Like, it's a very well done stand, a complete system at a very affordable price. Just because a lot of people are overpaying for tree stands. So if you're spending $650 on a Lone Wolf custom gear, a lot of guys are like buy once, cry once, which it is nice stuff. But to be honest, I'm like, they're marking their stands up. You know,
they're
like
they're making
points. Like,
they're making a ton of money on you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I mean the thing I'll say, from what I've seen, I mean they look really good. Like, and the hunting industry as a whole, I think, I'm a Sitka guy, you're a Sitka guy, like, yeah, the stuff, you get what you pay for sometimes with that stuff, but like, you and I both know that like Sitka doesn't need to be as expensive as it is.
It's marked up like
they
crazy.
could sell it for probably 25% less on average than what it is and still make a good margin.
Well, when they're giving their pros 60 to 65% off
Yeah.
regularly, like, you know that they're, even to like your VIP pros, like the Sitka's max discount, unless you're getting it for free and you're completely sponsored, like, you know, you might be in the top tier of a 65% pro program. Like, they're not giving that stuff away. Like, even like
no, they're probably still making 10%,
that's what I'm saying.
15%.
On our VIP list, like, we still have to cover the cost of shipping and manufacturing.
Yeah.
So like, no, are we making, you know, $100 on each sale? Absolutely not. We're making like $5 on VIP stuff, but still, like, in compared to Sitka, I'm like, that $400 Fanatic suit or whatever you want to call it. I don't think the jacket and bibs, maybe they're that much now.
Yeah, I think the jacket's $500.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I guarantee it only costs them $85 to make that jacket. Maybe $100.
No, I think less.
That's
probably.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm like they're just raking in dough doing that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm not in that industry, but I do golf retail, and I know what our wholesalers can sell it to us at and make a really good profit off of us, you know? So I got to think that Sitka's making a ton.
Yeah.
And the thing that Sitka does that, like, isn't always as big as other industries is they do a ton of direct-to-consumer sales.
Yeah.
So they're making the shit for, let's call it $50, and then they're getting to sell it for $500. You know, it's not like they're selling it
it's
to
the best profit margin, and they have no other hands touching.
That's probably half their sales. It's not like they're doing 90% of their sales at wholesale to Cabela's and Shields and Bass
I
Pro,
bet they're
and
doing
you know,
less than 20% of their sales.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a lot of companies are doing that, and because we just launched this new brand, right? A couple other, like, all our other brands of the company are in retail stores. Like, we have our landed cost, and we have like dealer cost, we have outfitter pricing, then we have like distributor pricing, which is wholesalers that are selling to mom and pop shops, stuff like that. Like, there's so many different pricing tiers, and like, you know, our best margin on stuff is when people buy from our website, because it's comes off the boat, shows up at our warehouse or whatever, we ship it out, nobody else touches it, so there's nobody else to take a portion of that money.
Yeah,
that's the nice thing with Nested though too, is why we're able to keep the price a little bit lower. Like, if we opened it up to retailers,
are you guys not doing retail right now?
We're consumer direct, and I'm forcibly my decision to keep it that way, because we've had a lot of people ask. A lot of our sales guys are like, "Hey, my dealer's been asking. They saw the launch, they saw the hype videos, they want it in their store." I'm like, "No, I'm like, this market is so niche that a lot of guys in this mobile industry, if they see it sold at retail, their first opinion switches to must be cheap.
Yeah.
Must be mass produced. Must be cheap. And I don't want that opinion. And the other thing is, like, if we start selling to retailers, like, we're going to have to raise and map our price at, you know, our system's going to be $550 right now, you know, at MSRP. I'm like, we're going to have to freaking raise that to, you know, $700 some dollars. Otherwise, there's no margin left.
Yeah.
You know, your dealer's going to be like, well, you were selling it for this. Can we have it for this? And I'm like, there's no point. I think this, not to make anybody mad, but it's like, it's selling direct to consumer, and I think it's going to very well. Why would we change that?
Yeah.
There's just no reason. I mean, if we get to a point at some point in the future where things slow down and we want to open it up to a vast more amount of people, I could see us maybe going down a route if we're very selective with, like, okay, of all your retailers, like, who's your premium retailers?
Yeah.
You know, stores that are perceived as not cheap stuff.
Yeah.
And go from there, which I have some of those stores in mind, but I'm not going to say names.
Yeah. No, I get that. So I'm trying to think of the way to word this, but obviously we could talk turkey hunting, but I can't really chime into that very well because I've never done it. And I think most of our listeners or most of the hunting population would say that they're more into deer hunting probably than turkey hunting. Like, if you had to give up one or the other, they'd probably say turkey hunting. Would you agree?
No, actually, I would.
Really? What would you give up?
It's region dependent. Like, for real, I would give up.
Okay,
like,
but our viewers.
No, okay, our viewers, yes, I would say most people are into deer hunting, but, like,
Yeah.
when you go south, if you were to draw a line, Highway 70, straight east-west through the United States, like, south versus north shit, I think in the south you would have more people turkey hunt than you would deer hunt.
Really?
And especially after you go to that NWTF show in Nashville, like the NWTF organization, the National Wild Turkey Federation, is one of the biggest outdoor conservation groups out there. It's bigger than Whitetails Unlimited. It's bigger than Pheasants Forever. It's bigger than Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Like, there are more members and people that donate to the NWTF than any other outdoor conservation.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Anyways, I guess my point was maybe we should keep it deer hunting for this one.
Yeah, for this one's fine. We're a little far out on turkeys right now. I can't even think about it. I'm still pissed at the DNR for not letting me get a tag. Who gives me a fucking preference point?
What do you... I mean, there's a few different ways we can go about this. We're in kind of a gear load-up type of the year, which I know we've already talked about some. We could talk about scouting tactics.
I'll talk about maintenance on your bow. And that conversation happened.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like, I've been, in the past... It seems, because I work in the industry, I worked at Shields and I worked down south. Like, I've been in the outdoor industry now since I was 18. Meaning I haven't ever paid full price for a bow since before I was 18. So, new bows drop November. Price sheets and stuff show up December. You order a bow in January, shows up anywhere between March and June time frame. So you get your bow in June, you start shooting July, August, you hunt with it. You know, I've had this V3X now 2 seasons. 2 complete seasons, I believe.
Yeah.
And my string is at the point now where at the end of season, I noticed, like, I'd have to wax it, like, you know, once every 15 arrows, whatever. Like, you'd see not frays in the strings, but maybe it's considered frays, like little dangly, whatever. You know, so the string is more than shootable right now. But the issue I ran into when I was in Missouri, same thing. I had this bow for 2 seasons. String looked like this back in April, May, turkey on with it. Then it comes to summertime, and that's when I fling arrows. July through August, I bet I'll shoot, I don't know, I want to say 500, but I feel like that's a lot. Like, for sure, 300 arrows. You know, if you're talking, I go to the range 4 nights a week, and you're averaging anywhere between 20 and 50 arrows at the range. Like, in a matter of 2 months, I mean, it adds up. That's a lot of times that your string is going thwack, thwack, thwack. And then by the time I go out, you know, to Nebraska, it's September, and I'm looking at my bowstring, and I'm like, I'm not sure I want to trust this thing. You know, I should have replaced it. Issue is, guess what? Now it's, you know, my season started. The last thing I want to do is order a new string, take my bow in to get a new string and cable put on. Then they have to retune the damn thing. And then guess what that means for me? I have to then go back and recite it in, which I know during the middle of the season I don't want to fuck with. So I got to a point that season with my Hoyt where it was November, and my string was so bad, I told myself the only time I'm shooting an arrow is at a fucking deer. Like, I wouldn't even practice with it, because every time I drew back, I'm like, this could be the last one, before.
See, I've never looked at my string and thought that. But I've always waxed it and taken care of it, even when it's new, And, I mean, I shoot a ton of arrows.
Yeah.
I think most people do kind of what you said, and they might start to get their bow out in July, and then they'll pound some arrows for the back half of August, and then September, October, November rolls around, they might shoot once every 10 days.
Yep.
I think you're guilty of that.
I did that absolutely, because I was hunting all the time, and I'm like, okay, I'll shoot 3 arrows at camp, and I might launch. I went probably 2 weeks without launching arrows.
Yeah, and I know, I didn't make the greatest shot on the first deer I shot this year, but I made an awesome shot on the second deer I shot this year, and I just had so much more confidence in the woods this year, and I think it's because I told myself, I'm going to practice. Every time I go to the range, I'm going to practice like it's a hunting situation and pick something that I need to work on that I feel like I'm a little weak on and get it to where I'm confident in it. And I shoot like a decent amount in August. I won't really pick up a bow till August, to be honest with you.
Sure.
But then I pound arrows through the season.
Daily.
I try to shoot every day or 5 times a week, and it might be literally run to the range and shoot 5 arrows one day.
Just to shoot.
But I try to get one at least solid 30-minute practice session in a week and just pick different things that shoot on your knees for if you ever have to spot and stalk, or shoot sitting down, shoot quartering away, quartering to, shoot at 90 yards. It's just all that stuff made a huge difference for me this year. And when I went to Kansas, I was I've talked about this on here before, but I'm if I draw back on a deer, it's gonna die. There's no other outcome that could happen other than it's gonna die.
That's the best way you could ever approach a hunt. At the start of your hunt.
And I've had so many experiences where I haven't been confident in the woods, haven't been confident taking a shot, have felt like I had to rush a shot, whatever it might be. And literally when that buck stepped out in front of me in Kansas, I verbally said out loud, I'm you're fucking dead. I'm you are gonna die. Yeah. And it didn't make it out of the field. It ran 70 yards and tipped over.
Mm-hmm. And from there, your confidence goes up even more. And you're just hell yeah.
And that's not a brag. That's just through practice. You develop that. And it's okay, I've practiced every situation that I think could happen. I've drawn squatting and stood up, in case I have to spot and stalk. I've shot I've shot sitting down. I've shot,
suited up with all your clothes and all that stuff.
Yeah, all that shit. It's every single situation I think that could happen.
You came over to my house
at least flung 15 arrows
and made me, I'm going to draw. You set a timer for 30 seconds, and I'm not going to shoot until after. I want to practice holding my bow for as long as I can and then shooting.
Yeah.
Which is I thought about the time, I'm what the fuck? It's just a weird drill, but at the same time, it's not a bad drill. Because, if you know that, not you're going to sit in the woods and count, but it, again, boosting your confidence. If you know you can execute a 20-yard shot and still hit your mark after holding back for 60 seconds, that's a big confidence boost.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there's the one day we went to the range, and I was okay, you got to hit the center of the target twice. Before you can leave. And it's that sounds dumb, but as somebody that came from a college sport, I was okay, how can you simulate, the nerves that you might get during hunting season? And I'm if I sit here and fling 20 arrows, and all of a sudden I get one in the ring, the next one I'm going to be a little nervous on because I want to fucking leave. Ring, I want to go home. And so anything you can do to just simulate what you might encounter in the woods is not that I kind of cut your point off of what you were saying because I know you were taking it more the gear route. This time of year.
I mean that's a good conversation. All I was gonna say is that if you get to a point especially at this time from now until June, if you think you need to replace your string, replace cables, do something you check over your freaking limbs, cams, make sure there's no dings, nicks. Now's the time to replace that stuff, because if you wait until August. You're gonna just like, and then back to confidence. Like, you know, I went through that season. I'm like, you know, I'm drawing back on a deer, and instead of focusing on where's my pin, make the shot, I'm like, how long can I hold this bow back for?
Yeah, yeah, you struggled with
like,
that because you shoot a heavy bow with not as much of a let off, and the more time you can get comfortable with it, the better. And the other standpoint is, like, you walk into Shields in August to get your bow work done, it's a zoo in there.
You're leaving it there for a week.
Yeah, it's
you're
a
not
zoo.
even going to be the one tuning it. You're going to take it back, and then there's, you know, a 7 out of 10 chance you're going to shoot it and be like, oh shit, it's not quite, you know, it's they tuned it, but because I wasn't the one paper tuning it or whatever, like, it's not tuned to how I anchor, it's not tuned to how I shoot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's just save yourself some headaches and start taking care of business now. There's never a better time than now to start, you know, focusing on your next season. And, like, I've been guilty of it. Like, I let it go by. Like, I got turkeys on the mind, man. I got, you know, walleyes to catch. I got, you know, golf to play. But at the same time, it's like I can make some, like...
Yeah.
Which, to my next point, Matthews switched their strings up this year on their lift. They've always had zebra trophy strings for the longest time, for the last 2 decades, whatever. That's what they shoot. Known to not be very good strings that I have on my bow right now. They came out with these new strings called Match. I don't know if they're manufacturing them, if they're a distributor, whatever it is, but they're supposed to be a lot better rated string. I went on their website today to get a replacement string, and for the string itself is $200 just for a fucking string.
Yeah. Well, and we all know, right? Like, you look at the holidays. The holidays are tough for a lot of people because you're buying gifts and, you know, everybody wants something and whatever. You look at summer, like, there's a lot of shit to do in the summertime. You're spending money every time you go to do something. Like, I feel like now's probably one of the best times to get your bow tuned up from an economical standpoint.
Yeah, like, a lot of people
there's
just
not
got
much to
tax
spend
returns
money
back.
on. Yeah, this time of year, you know,
instead of going to the casino and blowing $400.
Yeah,
just
put it
going
into
to
something
the
you're gonna use. You know, now's the time to do it.
Proactive about it. Same thing with arrows. Like, I noticed that's another thing. Like, I seem to buy arrows every 2 years from losing some or breaking them, whatever. Like, I lost one arrow last year, sending it over a deer's back down a hill, never to be found again. This year, the North Dakota buck I shot, the arrow broke. The second deer I shot a week later was the one in Kentucky that took my arrow with it, never to be found again. And then, I don't think I lost any more, but I'm pretty sure I'm down to 6 arrows, which...
I think you were down to 5 at one point this year.
No, I might have 5. I'm very confident I have 6 because I have an arrow with no fletchings on it.
Oh.
For my bear shaft that I... So, like, technically I have 6, but 5 fully conditioned working arrows. But at the same time, like, if I'm talking about going on this, you know, these benders of a trip, like, if I go to North Dakota... I'm spotting stock at mule deer. Like, I just watched Whitetail Adrenaline. Like, some of these guys, they're launching arrows past deer, and they're never going to find them again. Like, I've gone on so many of those trips with only 6 arrows, which, if you lose all 6, you don't kill a deer, you probably shouldn't be out there anyways. Yeah. But things happen. Like, okay, you carry 3 in your quiver, and, like, you're spotting stock at deer, you slip down a hill, you fall.
Yeah,
like, you land on your quiver, and you break 3 of your arrows. Well, guess what? Now you're down to 3. And it's like, oh, shit, I get back from this hunt, and I got to, you know, go whitetail hunt. Like, I should just buy another dozen and just get them all set up. Even if I don't touch them, like, guess what? I plan on shooting an arrow for a while.
Yeah.
I should have backups, because when you go on a hunt like that, like, you should always have 3 in your quiver and leave, like, an extra 5 or 6 at camp.
Yeah.
Just in case. And that's a lot. That's, you know, nobody thinks about it until they're in that situation where it's like, you know, you start off the season, even if I have 5 right now and I start off the season, guess what? I shoot a deer in North Dakota again, maybe it breaks my arrow, or I miss once, I lose an arrow, break another arrow. Now I'm down to 3 to get me through the next 3 months. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Just be proactive and stuff. Get your gear taken care of.
The other thing with gear, and I'll couple this into us talking about going on hunts that we might do this year, is like most people through my experience and even my own doing is like, you're going on a hunting trip. How much time do you spend looking at gear, new gear that you need? I think the average person way overthinks it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm guilty of it every time I go to Kansas. I'm like, what do I might need this piece for this situation. And it's like, I hunt fucking 3 times a week during the fall here. I don't need this piece, but I think I need it because I'm going on a trip.
Yeah.
The average person takes way more time looking at their gear than they do actually training for the hunt. Getting in shape if you're going on a Western hunt or shooting a lot. And so do your gear stuff now and get your fix in with it so that you're good to go come summertime, and then just grind to get ready for your trip. Get in shape if you're going out west or if you're going to be spot and stalking or whatever. Shoot a ton so you're confident, and do a ton of e-scouting and shit like that is way more important than your gear is. So do your gear now when it's easy to do, and it's a time of the year where you can spend the money on it and stuff. And
that would be a good podcast. I know we talked about top 3 things you recommend every hunter has, and gear that people are wasting money on. We should maybe do something if you're going on a trip, whether it's Kansas, you're going out to the Dakotas, you're going out west. I have lists that I have saved in my phone of absolute necessities to bring, and I think that'd be a good topic to go over, because I know a lot of people are always posting in forums hey, I'm coming out for my first Western hunt, what do I need? And there's the big things that everybody talks about, but then there's little things hey, maybe it's good to have just a small medical kit, because I'm guess what, you go and slice yourself with a broadhead and you're out in the middle of bumblefuck nowhere. What are you gonna do? I'm
okay, so maybe let's turn this episode into that. So if you're going somewhere to sit in a tree, so you're not going, let's exclude the Western states. You're going to sit in a tree or a blind. What are the 3 things that you think are essential to look at? Or I guess it doesn't have to be 3. I don't know what exactly your thoughts are, but what do you think guys should look into getting? Because everybody probably has your base pieces, right? Your typical base layers and bow and warm outer pieces for the most part, but beyond that, what are your pieces? Do they couple into what we talked about a couple months ago, or?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's a lot. Now you're talking about overthinking gear, but if you're sitting in a tree, just first and foremost, bring a fucking safety harness. I know I mentioned that in the other podcast we did, because it's there's still a lot of people. I go to all these shows, and I had one guy talk about, he was looking at our new tree stand, and he's like, well, can you tow hitch it, blah blah blah. I'm like, well, we have warning labels not to. You don't really need to, because it bites in super aggressively to the tree. And he's like, yeah, I tow hitched my new vertical tree stand.
What does that mean? What does tow hitch mean?
So tow hitching is how some guys lever in their tree stands. It was developed because certain tree stands don't, when you hang a tree stand with one strap, you should be able to lock it into the tree with one strap, which is why, Bigfoots are known for. A lot of guys will be like, oh, I just ratchet strap my tree stand, since they don't know how to lever in a tree stand. Well, tow hitching is when you set your tree stand, and the way to lever in a tree stand is when you install it, you put your strap around the backside of the tree. Where you attach the strap and the actual strap on the tree should be level to start. Okay. When that tree stand is fully levered, there's going to be an angle. That tree strap should actually be above where your tree blades are, so it should be angled like this.
Yeah.
The only way to do that is when you attach it, you fold the bottom of the platform up and you pull down on the stand, right? And then you pull the platform back out, and it creates separation from where the tree stand stem is to the tree, and that creates it's geometry. That's how the strap gets tight. Tow hitching is when you set the stand, then you get on your knees on the seat, grab the platform with your toes and fold up the platform while you're sitting on it, and your weight forces that stand to go down, so when you take your feet, step on the platform again, it levers in super freaking tight, which is a good way for average tree stands to get set in tight, because that weight helps.
So it's a safe way to... It's a way to get your stand super safe.
No, it's a way to get the strap super tight so your stand doesn't move. I'm not saying it's not necessarily safe at all. I've done it on certain stands, but with other stands, the way we designed our nested tree stand is we raise the lower tree blade. So there's engineered geometry within the platform, so you can set the stand by hand and get the same outcome as if you tow hitched it or you tow hooked it. The only thing I worry about is if guys tow hook their stands, you can get that strap too tight. where you'll actually put so much force on the base of the stand that you'll break your platform. And that one guy was telling us that's what he did with his, I don't know if you heard of vertical tree stands. They're brand new. There they were. Haven't posted since November, and I feel like this is one of the reasons why, because I believe they're in lawsuits right now. Guy went to toe hitch his stand, so he's got his knees on the platform. He lifted up the platform with his feet, pushed down, and then he went to, force his platform back down, and it wouldn't budge because it was so tight. So he forced it, and the freaking casting completely sheared off the stand, and he fell off the fucking tree like 16 feet.
Oh.
So I'm like, there's a lot of people that just don't wear safety gear. Like, why? Like, I get it. I didn't. It's because my dad, raised me that way, and I'm not knocking on my dad. You don't know what you don't know. But that's why there's guys like me and other people out there with these experiences that are like, wear your safety harness or a climbing belt or whatever it is, just so you don't fall out of a tree, because guess what? It's a good way to ruin your hunt. You packed up, you drove 12 hours to go to Kentucky. First thing you do is fall out of a tree stand. Well, congrats, you putz. You just ruined your hunt. So, first foremost, bring one of those. I don't know. Seriously, like, when I go tree stand hunting, I really don't have, like, a gear list that I'm worried about, and I think it's because I do it so much. Like, I have my systems down. Like, I feel like I'm very prepared. Yeah. I'm used to going out in a tree. Like, I know what to expect. The only time I pack lists like that is when I'm going in somewhat uncharted territory where I'm trying to expect the unexpected.
Yeah. First and foremost, if you're going on a trip, the one piece of equipment that this was, I think, my number one earlier.
Binoculars.
Good glass. I'm telling you. I get a hard on for binoculars. Like, I've been eyeing a new pair for a long time now. I'm still not sure what I want to buy. I'd love to get the Vortex.
I'll sell you my Vipers.
Your Vipers?
Yeah, I got Furies now.
Oh, yeah, you got a pair of Furies, didn't you?
Furies, yeah.
I want a pair of Furies, but they ain't cheap.
Oh.
Because I want the ABs if I get them. But
ones I got were pretty nice.
You got the ABs, didn't you?
Applied
Ballistics?
No.
Yeah, I think you did.
No, mine's just got the rangefinder built in.
You like it, though?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really, used them yet. I can tell,
How's the glass?
I think it's the same as my Vipers. Like, I'm fairly confident it's the same as
my
really? Vipers. Yeah, it's just their HD glass. Like, there's...
So if I didn't care about the rangefinder, get the Vipers then? Because I don't think it's that big of a deal to pick your arm up, pull your rangefinder to your eye, and click the button.
No, the only thing it would alleviate for me on a Western hunt is that I always have my bino harness on and I'm glassing constantly. Yeah. And it alleviates me carrying the extra rangefinder that I have to dink around with when I can just throw up my binoculars, be like, boom, 50 yards, put them down, and I don't have to then. I glassed him, okay, as a shooter. Then it's grab the rangefinder. It's just seconds I can cut off to be more effective, and I think I'm going to like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've found that, in any situation, and this might not even apply to hunts, to hunting trips, just, glass is one thing. I have a solid pair now. I'd like to upgrade to actually a little bit smaller lens magnification. Because I have 12s now, and they're a little bit big. But, to be at that low light situation where you're not sure what's coming out, or when something comes across the field at 400 yards, or whatever, it's just been awesome for me. And I just love to sit and use them, too, personally. They're fun to use, I think. My biggest don't, if you're going on a hunting trip exclusively, is clothing as a whole. If it goes on your chest, your arms, or your legs, and you're comfortable at home, and you live north of Tennessee, you're probably going to be comfortable sitting in a tree anywhere else. Fingers, feet, head, I can see that a little bit. But if you've got warm enough clothes to be warm, on your body, you probably don't need new shit there.
Yeah, that's fair. Don't focus on buying that. If you're trying to plan.
Yeah, especially for us here, because most of where we're talking about going
is warmer than
Kansas is south, Kentucky would be south, Ohio would be south. You know, any of these great states, it's like I have warm enough shit here. Why would I need something better for down there?
Sure. So that now I understand what you're saying. So like some dude from Florida is like, yeah, I want to go hunt, you know, Iowa during November.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Then
yeah.
You probably
might want to look at buying a nice warm jacket.
Yeah.
But if you're from the north going south, like clothing is like, why do you need it?
I'm actually gonna make that one of my goals this year to harvest deer not wearing camouflage, and I did it last year. In fact, I've never hunted before, really, other than gun season, where I'm not decked out completely in camo. Like, some reason I was like, okay, I'm filming hunts, I gotta look like whatever. I like the camo patterns that it has, blah, blah, blah. Now I've kind of fallen into, like, a jaded type phase where I'm like, just to prove people wrong, like, I'm gonna go hunt just wearing solids. Like, just a sweatshirt, just a t-shirt, just whatever. And I sat last year, I've spot and stalked. You know, I'm like, I really don't think it matters, and I'm just trying to prove a point this year. Like, even in late season, like, I don't know. I'm gonna try something different this year.
Well, I mean, I said it in our conversation back in October that you know, I don't think maybe it helps break up your figure a tiny little bit. I don't think it helps camouflage you anymore.
No, I think it's more for human perspective. Like, if you're trying to hide from people, sure, wear camouflage. But I'm like, when it's just you and a deer, like, that's why, you know, there's a bunch of different people with different opinions on this topic. Like, you have the guy that's, I gotta be 30 feet in a tree wearing all camouflage, blah, blah, blah. And then I've met some of the mobile hunters that are killing booners, you know, big bucks consistently that are hunting 6 to 8 feet off the ground wearing tan pants and a flannel. Like, guys that just kill shit. And it's like, okay, who's right here? Like,
I think there's this, like, kind of, I don't know what age class you'd classify it as, but you look at the really old people, like our grandparents who hunted in a flannel.
Yeah.
And then this new school of hunters, and I think they're both probably in agreement that camo doesn't help. And then there's kind of that middle ground.
Like the Gen X.
People
like
maybe our dad's age.
30 to 50 years old that
are
grew up on TV shows.
Yes. Yep. It's like camo.
Yep.
You know, you got to have camo on. For the most part, I think. And maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe there's some outliers there. I don't know, but I don't think camo's a necessity. I'll never get screwed into the ground over a camo pattern. You know what I mean? It's not like I think one works better than the other.
Yeah. And I think I solely make that decision based on my personality, because my big part of my personality is to be completely different than my peers.
Yeah.
And
keep going. I gotta piss so bad. I can taste it.
Every aspect of my life. Like, I just, for some reason, not saying it's an attention thing, but just, like, I don't want to blend in, which, pun on camouflage, like, if I'm surrounded in a group of hunters or an atmosphere of people that are like, hey, you need to wear this, or, you know, you're going to get seen. Like, someone tells me that if I'm not wearing camouflage, I'm going to spook deer, they're going to see me. Like, I want to give the biggest F you possible, which is terrible personality trait. Like, I shouldn't do that, but like, I just have it in my head. Like, I want nothing more than to prove you wrong. So consistently I do stuff like that. Like, oh, shouldn't shoot deer over 30 yards. Well, guess what? Next deer I see at 40 yards, it gives me a shot that I know I can make, and it's ethical in my opinion. I'm going to take it and prove you wrong. You know, same thing. Don't shoot deer through the shoulder. Like, nobody's purposely trying to shoot deer through the shoulder, but like my North Dakota buck, I'm 8 feet off the ground. This deer's at 5 to 8 yards. With my setup, I'm like, it's a quarter inch torch shot. I know I'm going to at least blow through the first shoulder, you know, facing me. So what do? Blow right through that goddamn shoulder, and that deer piles up 70 yards from where I shot it. Like, just defying the norm for me is what I care about.
I mean, I think that's kind of I had a nice piss, by the way.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat here pretty soon.
I think that's kind of a guy trait, maybe, as a whole.
Like, certain guys, for sure. Like,
yeah, I'm that way. Like, you tell me I can't do something, and I'm going to be like, all right.
Just to prove someone wrong. Like, I don't care what the outcome is, other than I want to say I told you so. And, like, I've been humbled myself a few times. Where guys are like, oh,
and I'm not scared to admit when I am humble.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Know?
Like you were right, dude. Like, I couldn't do it. So, you know, kudos to you. Shame on me. At least I tried.
Yeah.
But God, that's the best feeling in the world to me when someone's like, you're not gonna do that, and you go out and you fucking do it. And
Yeah.
it's like
it's
the
cool.
biggest shit eating grid. But
Yeah.
all right, we're probably getting wrapped up on time here.
We're at about 50.
Yeah, that's
You want
probably
to keep
long
going,
enough.
or at about good?
No, it's bedtime. So,
I'm tired.
Tuesday Night Bender. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This was episode 9. I think next time we meet, we're probably not going to quite talk about turkeys yet. I know they were gobbling this morning. I had my buddies down in Clark County, the forester there, send me videos this morning. He was owl hooting and getting gobblers to respond, which is early, unheard of. Granted, weird year, but
Yeah, very weird year.
talk about some Western style hunting stuff. I'm gonna give Ben these DVDs. I should have brought them tonight. Some point this week, if you have downtime while your lady's gone, and you'll get addicted to it and be like, "Fuck this tree stand, I want to go." Which is crazy for me to say because I'm like, that's my job. I'm selling tree stands, but my goal this next year, I want to kill every deer I possibly can from the ground.
Yeah, that kind of hunting is cool. Like, you see deer from the ground and it's just cool. Even if you're in a blind, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of feels like more of a level playing field, I guess.
Which is why I'm so excited. We gotta go on just one Western style.
I know
where you ditch the stand because there's something about it that just it's like heroin in your veins. I've never touched heroin, but for example, like you go out there and you're faced across like 5 miles of wilderness and you see a buck and you know that the only way you're gonna kill that deer is to be an apex predator and you fucking make a move on it. Like, there is some type of endorphins or something that gets released.
Yeah.
Where you just feel on top of the world. Even if you fail that stalk, 1,000 times more excitement than you'll ever have of a deer walking in while you're in a tree stand. Yeah. There's just something about it, and you'll never know that feeling until you do it.
Yeah. So, that's cool.
That's all, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.